Hey there, it's Aztec. I was asked by Koala to do some audio for his video. So yeah, today I'm going to be telling you guys a story about how one time we almost got in trouble for fighting some 5th graders. So, I get dropped off at my friend's house, right? So, for the purpose of the story, I'm just going to make up names as we go along. So, we go over to John's house. Me and Phil go over to John's house. We pick him up, and we're walking over to another one of my friend's house. We'll call him Johnny. John and Johnny. Don't get them confused. Johnny and us were walking over to a place called Forest Park. I'm gonna tell you the actual place. Forest Park, which is a elementary school. So we get there and they recognize that there's someone there who we'll call Xavier. Yeah, Xavier. There's someone there named Xavier. And so pretty much they start going over and hanging out with him. So then I'm sitting on a bench with my other friend, like I'm just sitting there by myself, and then other people are, playing, but they're playing football with Xavier. So I'm just sitting here, and I turn around because my friend Nate sits down and tells me, "Hey, look behind you. There's a fight." So I look behind me, and sure enough, there's a fight. It's between two 5th graders, and one of them is taller than the other by like a large margin. And so it was over in almost an instant. He just body slams him and he goes away. He's crying. And so they go to someone's backpack and they grab a charger. You know how people who use their chargers as whips. And so he obviously didn't want to do that. But then they also wanted to give him to fight a girl. He also didn't want to fight a girl because he's a top class gentleman. But so we end up, everything seems to disperse. Everyone's chill. And then Xavier goes over and is just pretty much standing and looking at them, not even saying anything. And one of the 5th graders starts going, berserker. He's, screaming, "Go away, get out of here. We don't want you here. Go, leave. Leave. We don't want you here. Get out." And, so he doesn't do that because, he's just fucking standing there, ignoring him. And he fucking gets rushed, right? So Xavier's getting rushed by like this one 5th grader. So Johnny, John, and fucking Phil were going and they were running over to Xavier. And so there's like about maybe 20, maybe 10. No, there's like 10, 5 5th graders. And keep in mind, we're in like 7th going on to 8th grade. Now, they end up taking down all of them. No fucking surprise. And what ends up happening after that is this lady walks over and starts screaming at us to get out of here. Like this older lady saying that if you don't go to school here, you can't play here. You shouldn't be playing here. Get out. So immediately people start running away. Getting out of there as fast as possible. Except for the 5th graders because they attended there. And so then I look back over and she has her fucking toddlers playing, which I'm not sure if that school is allowed, like if there's like a pre-K, but so everyone starts running home basically. But then there's me, someone who came with us, but we didn't really tell you his name. We'll call him Dante. And so me, Nate, Dante, and I'm pretty sure, I think it might have been Phil, we were walking with. No, it wasn't Phil. It was John. Yeah, it was John. I'm pretty sure. And we were walking home. And what ends up happening is, as we're walking, we're still at the park still, and this kid pulls up on his bike. He's like, "He's trying to fight." He's smacking his lips because he has gum in there, and he just speeds away after Dante looks at him, takes a step forward. Kid speeds away. We're like, okay. And then, so what ends up happening is we start walking away from the school, and we get maybe like 2 minutes away from the school, and we're just talking, we're having some fun. And I look over and I see this lady, like, basically, like, sitting, not really sitting, but she has her door slightly open to where she can, like, walk out when someone walks by. And it's all me, since my parents tend to smoke. So what they would do is they would open the door slightly and smoke like that. And what? So I was like, oh, she's just smoking. Turns out, when we're walking by, she runs out and starts screaming at us. You guys think it's okay to put your hands on a fifth grader? That's not okay. You shouldn't be doing that. That's unresponsible. Like, how old are you guys? And we're walking, so I start recording for my, because I didn't know exactly what's gonna happen, so she's causing a commotion. People are walking out of their house and just looking, and so she ends up stopping us, telling us to stop, and she's calling the police, right? So that's what she says. She doesn't take her phone out or anything. She just said that she's already called the police, and then she opens her door, and her kid's sitting there, and her kid has like a black eye. So we're just looking at him. Like, I'm not really sure because earlier that person said that I'm a girl, and then fucking someone else said that it was their brother that got. But we were going, and she opens the door, and the kids just looking at us like none of them were part of this fight. And the mom, was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You never know nowadays with these kids running around." And we we start walking back, so I have my phone. I stopped the recording and I'm like, oh, okay. But we end up walking back home, and I'm looking over my shoulder because she actually called the fucking cops, and I was expecting her to somewhat like start driving around looking for them. And we get home, right? So we stop at Johnny's house, right? And so we stop there, and there's Phil. Phil and Johnny are both sitting in the backyard. They're talking about, oh my God, you see what we did to them? They're never gonna do that again. But we end up going over to them, and I take out, and then so we're telling them like some lady stopped us, and they're not believing us. They're like, oh no, you guys just took long. So I take out my phone and I take out the video, right? And I start showing them it, and she's like, she called the police, and that's what really got them on edge. They're like, oh, she called the police? So they ended up, switching their clothes, running inside, and they're just sitting there for the rest of the day. I had to go home early. It was like 6. I typically stay there like 7 or 8, so I had to go about 2 hours or an hour earlier than I normally would. And what ends up happening after that, I get home, and I was like, well, why do you want to come home early? I'm like, oh, nothing. And then, so, fast forward, right? I was, talking, I get off my PlayStation, and I get a message from my friend, and he's like, "Do you say anything to anybody?" I said, "No, I didn't." He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I'm 100% sure." I said nothing about you guys' involvement. I didn't even speak about the fight. And he says, "Okay, okay. Did you hear any cop cars?" I'm like, "I don't even live close to that area, so I wouldn't." He's like, "Well, can you ask John if he heard any cop cars?" I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's no cop cars, because I'm pretty sure she didn't call the police. And then it feels like, yeah, I just want to make sure, because I didn't hear any cop cars last night, but I still want to make sure that there's like no one looking for us. And I'm just saying, Phil, they're not going to arrest you because they started attacking you first. So in essence, it was somewhat self-defense. The mom herself, I don't think she would call the police, but I do think she was following us on our way home. So we start hanging out again. There's like a tomato and stuff, but that's pretty much where the story ends, and we still have about 2 more minutes left. So I'll tell you another story. Alright? So this one personally didn't happen to me. It was it John? I think it was John. John was near, so he leaves his house, it's pretty late, right? And when he starts walking outside, there's like this old place that's currently like it's under construction. So he starts walking there, right? It's like still pretty late. You can see this, like it was like 9 at night. And he's like messaging me, and I'm playing my video games because I wasn't really getting any sleep for school. So he ends up sending us videos about what he's doing, and he goes in there and he starts walking around because no one else wants to explore with him because everyone else is fucking pussies. He's looking around, he's sending us videos, and he fucking runs out. And so the next day I asked him, well, what happened? Why did you run out? He said, oh, I heard something. I said, well, what did you hear? He said, I thought I heard someone fucking scream. I'm like, in a construction building? He said, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's a bit fucking weird. And then I'm pretty sure a couple of days after, I'm not sure if they were joking with me or not, but they get on a call with me, a Snapchat call, a video call, telling me that someone's been following them. And of course, I don't believe them. I'm like, oh, no fucking way. And they show me like this van just slowly driving behind them. So then they run, and this car starts to pick up speed, and they get inside his house, and they cut the video basically. And I'm not sure if they were like fucking with me, but I think they were, because nothing ended up ever happening of it. They said they saw him a couple more times, but then nothing really came of it. And I'm just sitting here like, the fuck did you not make a call about it? Like, why didn't you report it? But yeah, this is like the final minute I'm allowed to talk for, so I'm pretty just gonna say, yeah, that's both stories that I was told to tell, and yeah.